Welcome to the Bougie Baldie Podcast with your host, Kellie Rhymes.
Hey, welcome to another episode of the Bougie Baldie Podcast. If you don't know who I am, my name is Kellie Rhymes. I am a women's hair loss support and authenticity coach, and I can add TV producer to my title because I have just produced the Bougie Baldie TV show. I'll tell you guys more about that later in the podcast. But let's get to today's guest. All right, so today we have another beautiful woman who has experienced hair loss herself, and she's here to talk about her journey and her business and all of the things about her, okay? So let me introduce you to Dena Stanley. Her journey hasn't been easy. From childhood trauma to carving out her place as a woman truck driver in a male-dominated world, to stepping into beauty and healing. At 50 years old, living with alopecia, she's learned that true confidence begins when you embrace your story and your crown, no matter what it looks like. Today, as a hair loss specialist, her mission is bigger than beauty. It's about community, healing from within, and bringing awareness to hair loss and trauma while engaging and encouraging others to tune into their bodies and their purpose. Welcome, Dena, to the Bougie Baldie Podcast.
Thank you for having me, Kellie. Thank you.
You are so welcome. All right, so we are going to go ahead and jump right in it. And usually when I have guests on who have experienced hair loss themselves, I always ask them to share their personal hair loss journey. So can you tell us about your hair loss journey and what led you to become so passionate about being an alopecia advocate, really? Because that's what you are.
Wow, yes, of course. Well, my hair loss journey started in my early 20s with a bad bleach treatment, which took all of my hair out. So since then, my hair was never right, but alopecia is hereditary. It runs in my family. My mom has it, my aunts have it, and I noticed that my daughter is getting a little touch of it as well. So with me, the journey was about just being free from the wigs, the braids, trying to hide it all while still feeling torn up on the inside. Still like they can see, thinking that people can see you, but yeah, so it's been a journey.
So how did you deal with that emotional side? You just said you was torn up on the inside. How did you deal with that and come kind of out of that?
Oh, it was a lot. Let's see, from 20 to almost 50, so about 25 years I've been dealing with it. A
Mhm.
lot of it was emotional. I had to learn how to control my emotions. I had to learn how to deal with it in a way that was healthy, in a healthy way.
Mhm.
Um, I had to eliminate a lot of things out of my life, and dealing with it was changes as I was going through life, just, being a young single mother with two children, battling alopecia, living with life, childhood trauma, just things that just stole my confidence from me.
Mhm. So you had to rebuild yourself back up and regain that confidence.
Absolutely. At 50 years old, I did. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So you mentioned how the women in your family have a hair loss as well, or some forms of alopecia. And as I've kind of gotten older and I'm starting to look at my family too, I am noticing, other people in my family who have hair loss. Like my mom, she has hair loss as well, but like people also have other health issues that can contribute to hair loss. So we never kind of really know what is really causing it until you really, I think if we, and I'm talking to myself as well, if we were to go to like functional medicine people or people who like really look at the internal organs and body and
Hmm.
all of that and kind of study like the hair follicles and the trichologists and stuff like that, I probably would have I would know. I wouldn't say probably. I probably would know what caused my hair loss, what is causing it in my family, but it's just
Hmm.
like we don't usually kind of I think once we get to this point to where we're like, okay, you know what? I'm cutting it off. I'm bald and this is what it is. And I feel good this way. We tend not to want to even deal with it anymore. We're like, I'm not going to even go down the route of trying to figure anything else out because I've already accepted that this is what it is, you know?
Right. And that is a journey because for me, I did all of that. I went to the dermatologist. I had the injections in my scalp, the liquid gold, the steroid treatments, purchased every oil cream on the market, thinking that it was going to grow my hair back. I even have a $15,000 scar. I had a hair transplant where it's the FUT hair transplant, this scar back here.
Uh-huh.
It's where they cut a part of your scalp and then they take your hair follicles and like chop them up and then implant them where your hair loss is. And
Mm-hmm.
unfortunately, that didn't work for me. It wasn't, it didn't stick. And even with taking the oral minoxidil, like that was hard within itself. So it has definitely been a journey. And it seemed like once I released it and decided, hey, this what it is, this is my situation, it was like so much weight was lifted off of me.
Yes. It's like that's exactly what it is. It's the relief. It's like I'm
Yeah,
tired of dealing with it. This is what it is. I can live my life like this and not
exactly.
worry about the wigs, the covering it up, the medications, the doctor's appointments, the trying this diet and doing no, just
Yes, yes,
but
yes, yes.
again, I'm not saying not telling people out there not to do those things. I want to make sure I'm clear. If you are
Absolutely.
a woman with hair loss or you're experiencing hair loss and you want to try to really keep your hair, my advice to you is to try to address it as soon as possible. As soon as you start seeing that hair loss, go to a dermatologist that specializes in hair loss because that makes a difference. As you just heard Dena say, she went to a doctor's and tried this and that, but if a doctor is not really specialized in hair loss, then they're not probably going to be able to help too much. But even still, doctors or dermatologists that are I should say dermatologists that are specialized in hair loss, they're still just trying it out because everybody's different.
Hmm.
They don't know
Yes.
what's going to work for you. Just because it worked for the other person, it may not work for you. They don't know. They're just going to try. But thank you for sharing your story about your hair loss, Dena. So let's get into your business, which is called Royal
Yes.
Hair Loss Studio. So what inspired you to create Royal Hair Loss Studio? And how does the company's mission align with your own experience with hair loss?
Oh wow, okay. I'm gonna try not to get too emotional on this part.
You can do what you need to do. This is real talk.
Okay. Of course, it started with me. It started with my journey. It started with me accepting. Once I accepted and realized, hey, this is what it is, I felt like I had to share my story. I had to create a space, a safe space for women to come release and get, not get healing because I'm not a professional or anything, but just a safe space of peace where they can release and they can be themselves. They can, whether it was a childhood trauma situation that happened and they never really spoke about it.
Mhm.
That's what I'm coming into a lot of women that's just trauma, holding trauma in, and they don't know how to release it or they're not given the safe space to release it. And
Mhm.
once, for me, once I have childhood trauma too. And once I started to dig deep into that on a spiritual level, it like opened doors for me. So that's kind of how Royal Hair Loss Studio was created.
Okay, okay. Now tell us, what do you do at Royal Hair Loss Studio? Tell everybody the services that you provide.
The services I provide at Royal Hair Loss Studio, of course, I'm a hair loss specialist. So women like me who've decided to release it and let it go, I give them a organic clay mask. That's a
Mhm.
service that they get. It's help restore and rehydrate the hair or the scalp. We're scalp care now since we don't actually have hair. So we have to take care of our scalp too. And a lot of women that come and sit in my chair, they never realize how important scalp care is until they've had that crown and confidence experience.
Okay.
So it starts with a healing clay mask, a warm hot oil massage to your scalp, as well as a steam treatment and a shampoo and conditioner with that. And then I also provide other services where I do installations of hair units, where you may have hair on the sides and the back and you just need something from your front. So I provide those cover-ups. They're called a non-surgical hair replacement unit, as
Okay.
well as braids, wigs, weaves, and quick weaves. But my goal is ultimately to release it, let it go, because we're doing nothing but covering it up again, just covering it up and covering it up. And to me, I can only speak for myself. My best experience was when I released it, when I stopped trying to hide it and cover it up.
Yeah,
So,
definitely, definitely. And then too, it's like, okay, you're just making the situation worse. Like your hair isn't coming back, and it's definitely not going to grow back as long as you keep putting something on top of your hair and your scalp, because you're suffocating it. It's not getting hydration. So it's like you're not making it any better. It's still going to come out. And eventually,
yes,
what are you going to do? Because you have to come to a point to where you make a decision. Now, I mean, I know now people still can do what they want to do, but as we get older, we may not be able to take care of our heads and get that weave or whatever. What are you going to do?
right,
So
right,
you got to
right.
start thinking about
Yes,
that and just kind of prepare yourself and just saying, you know what? I'm beautiful regardless. And I'm just happy there's so many women out here who have embraced it. And I'm talking just to the women who are experiencing hair loss and they know their hair isn't coming back, not the women
yes.
who can still regrow their hair. But when you know it's not coming back, for all of us that have embraced it and said, okay, let's let it go, it's a wonderful experience. And I just want other women to get there and get that confidence so that they can be free as well, right?
Absolutely, yes. And with me revealing this, I thought my husband was gonna feel a certain type of way. I was like, oh, if I cut my hair and take the wigs and the weaves off, he's gonna picture me in a different way. And it was
Mhm.
the opposite of what I thought. I get so many compliments. This lady ran me down today and just to tell me, you are beautiful. I love it. She said she had a chemical burn, but when that heals, she's gonna come and she's gonna release it. So of course, I gave her my card, just spoke some positive words of encouragement to her and let her know that she's gonna be beautiful with or without hair. It's about what's on the inside.
Yeah, yep. And I mean, you can cut your hair off, but it is still going to be something where you have to work on yourself to go outside
Yeah.
being bald. I mean, it's not going to just be like, okay, I cut my hair off, I'm good, and I'm walking out. You're still going to have to do some work to get comfortable. But that's just like when you go from a long hairstyle to a short hairstyle. And then it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, this is a drastic change. I got to get used to it. How do people respond or, look at me? So it's the same type of thing. You have to get adjusted and get comfortable with the new look. Now,
Yes.
what do you see as like maybe the main barriers that women face when seeking hair loss solutions? And how does Hair Loss Studio aim to address those challenges?
I think that women, we are so worried about what people think, the outer appearance of us. We feel like we always have to keep our appearance right, like hair, nails, lashes done. Um, and yes, that's the case. And I even still struggle, and this may be a little bit off of your question, but it's not an easy journey. Some days I still struggle with going out in public. Like this is just some of those days that I'm not feeling that. And I've learned that that's okay to sit in that when I'm feeling with that, sit in that
Yeah.
and to really realize what I'm feeling. So
Mm-hmm.
how Royal Hair Loss Studio helps women with that. Well, I have a Crowned in Confidence community support group where if you're
Okay.
losing your hair or you want to just come and have a one-on-one session, you want to, just build community back together. So I
Mm-hmm.
provide that service as well as I'm networking with a couple of different agencies. I'm part of the She Movement. I'll be
Okay.
a part of the 2026 Bald and Beautiful
Hey,
pageant. So I'm
Yes.
looking forward to that. And I'm just trying to build community to let women know that are suffering, that's ready to release it. There's a space for you and you don't have to fight alone.
Yeah, definitely. So, how do people find your support group? Where is that located if they're interested in joining it?
They can find it on my Instagram page as well as my website. My website is Royal Hair Loss Studio.online. And then my Instagram handle is Royal Hair Loss .dfw.
And we'll have that in the description of the podcast as well. So, if you guys didn't catch that, just make sure you check out the description, okay?
Yes.
All right. So I know you have various products and things you do because you talked about the clay mask, you talked about the massages, you talked about the custom closures or toppers and things like that. But you
Yes.
also make full wigs, right?
I do. Yes. I also make full wigs.
And
Yes.
when I looked at your website, you had, was it a braided wig that you installed on someone?
I did.
I was like,
Yes.
that looks, and it looked very natural. I was
It
like,
did.
wow, it looked
Yes.
very good. I was like, okay, I would
Yes.
have never known that that was a wig.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
And I'm running across so many women in the lock community where they're experiencing that. They have their locks on the side and the back where their hair is healthy, but we need a custom unit for the top. Or
For
a
the
lot of
top.
us experience male pattern baldness, some
Mm-hmm.
form of alopecia. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm learning that a lot of women, they're wanting to keep what hair they can with their locks and just add a custom unit to it.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
It
Interesting. So
is.
what are some of your favorite products that you use on yourself or your clients that you've seen kind of really make a significant difference in the way their scalp is looking, that like the health wise of their scalp and maybe the shine and all of that stuff. So what are some of the products you really, really like to use?
Okay, absolutely. Just from my experience, I went bald September, so what, a couple of months ago, maybe. And I
Mm-hmm.
started out with using the razors. I noticed that I was getting razor bumps in the back of my neck and, the back of my neck back there. So
Mm-hmm.
for me, I stopped using the razors. I exfoliate my scalp.
Mm-hmm.
I use the clay mask, which is the Indian healing clay. I make
Okay.
that as a mask to detoxify my scalp and bring the impurities out of it. And
Mm-hmm.
then with that, I use like this custom oil that I make for myself for home, and it keeps my scalp moisturized without that dry feeling. Because sometimes when your hair is growing back, it has that little dry,
Mm-hmm.
brittle feeling. So I
Mm-hmm.
like to kind of keep it moisturized and a soft texture, even though I know that the hair is not going back. So I care for my scalp.
Right.
Um, so I'm just use all natural products. There is a brand that I use for my clients that comes in. I don't know if you want me to mention a brand or not, but it's not.
If it works,
I
if
didn't
it's a good
create the
brand and it
brand.
works, I'm okay with it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I use the oh my God, and I had it at the top of my mind before I said it. Not the design is essential. I can't even think of it now,
Okay,
Kelly.
well, if it
It'll
comes
come
back
to
to you.
me.
Yeah, because you know what I like to hear what people do use because like even on the Bougie Baldie TV show, we had a segment about scalp care. And at first I didn't even think about that, but then someone mentioned it and I was like, you know what, that's something good to talk about because just like you said, and like myself as well, when we first cut our hair, we're thinking, oh, we got to shave it with a razor and yada yada yada. And I got the bumps as well, and I was like, oh no, we can't do that because what we don't want is a bald head and bumps in the back. No, you know.
Right, right, right. So
So
I use a
learning,
shave buddy now. It's like the electric razor. You
yep,
just
that's what I
rub it
use
over your
too.
head, and I
Mhm.
love it so much. It's so convenient.
Yeah,
So
yep. I had to learn though. We just like
yeah.
we all do, but then now it's nice that so many of us are out here and we can share the information with other women
Yeah.
who are just now beginning their bald journey. And so they know what to do, where to go, how to care for their scalp, and make sure that they're okay so they don't have to go through the same mistakes that we went through, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that's my whole thing, Kelly. If I can prevent or assist someone along the way on the journey,
Mm-hmm.
use me. That I'm here, use me, because I understand what it is, and it took a lot of mental strength to get through that journey. Had
Mm-hmm.
my mental health not have been right, there's no tell. And then plus going through perimenopause while dealing with all of this,
Yeah, that's a whole nother beast. A whole
Yeah,
nother
it
thing.
is. It is. Yeah.
So now I know that you've hosted or participated in some community events or workshops related to hair loss, right? So, can you talk about some of those things you've participated in, or if you have any upcoming events coming up in the beginning of 2026? Talk about it. Let us know what's going on.
Absolutely. So, like yourself, I desire to have a podcast.
Okay.
So, that's on the horizons for 2026, Life After Hair Loss, to
Uh-huh.
take you along with on my journey with me as being an entrepreneur, a woman of color at 50 that lives with hair loss, not suffer, but lives with hair loss and
Mm-hmm.
can manage through it. So, I've just been pushed to share my story and my journey. So that'll be coming 2026.
Okay.
I've actually partnered with a candle company. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm part of a candle company, a TSG candle company. TSG stands for There She Goes Candle
Okay.
Company. So I have a lot of exciting things on the horizon for 2026, as well as expanding my awareness, letting people in the DFW area know that we're there and we do exist. There is a place created for us by us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you know what? Now that you mentioned, because you just said DFW, we should have said where you're located. So if anyone is in your area and want to utilize your services in your business, they know where to go. So tell everybody where you're located.
I am located in North Arlington off of I-30 and Collins, 807 Washington Drive, Suite E. That's
Okay.
where I'm located, in Arlington, Texas.
Okay, so if anybody is in the Arlington area, make sure you hit Dena up or go and make an appointment so that you
Yes.
can get your scalp care or your units installed or custom made or all of those things. Now, with your units, I just thought about this. Are you able to have units covered by insurance, or people have to just pay out of the pocket?
I'm working on that. So that will be part of 2026 too. Coming up, I will be able to offer those wigs and units that insurance will cover. So we're in the process of building our MPI number and getting all of that technical stuff taken care of so that we can bill and charge insurance companies
Okay,
for the
good.
units. Yes.
Good, because that's a big benefit for people if they can
It
have it covered
is.
by
And a
insurance,
lot of people don't really know that their insurance covers that.
right?
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So again, that's why we're here to share the information
Yes,
so people can
yes,
know.
yes, 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 yes. And I think I'm gonna set it up to where if they can just give me their insurance information, that I'll be doing the paperwork for them. The only thing they'll probably have to do is like send the packet in once, we've done our service and everything. So I'm just trying to figure out how I'm gonna apply that within the business.
Okay, because I'm sure different insurance companies handles it a different way. Some may want you to pay up front and then they reimburse you, or some may cover
Absolutely.
it. So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
So
So.
let's talk about some success stories in some of your clients. So can you share a few or maybe just one success story from a client who has benefited from your service?
Absolutely. I'll share a client that I just had over the past weekend. She was a bundle of joy. Kelly, she came in like, "Oh, you're a celebrity. I'm so happy to sit in your chair." I'm like, "Girl, I'm human just like you. It ain't nothing celebrity about me." But the confidence that she left with, like her edges and everything was gone, and she had hair in the back, and she
Okay.
wanted a ponytail, this ponytail, the high ponytails that they're wearing with the hair down in the back. So I was
Mm-hmm.
able to create that unit for her. And just seeing the smile on her face when she left, it brought joy to my heart and tears to my eyes. And then now every story is not a success story. I have had clients to where I have provided them a service and they wasn't happy with the service. So, me being the person that I am, or what can I do to fix this situation for you? How can we, fix this? But most of the time, they're just happy to come sit in the chair that someone is pouring into them. I'm in a private suite alone, so they're not in like a big beauty shop area to an open area to where everybody is seeing all of their business, So it's a very private setting, and the vibes are there. I set the tone in the room before they get there. I have their name on the board, welcome. I have a little note on the table written for them, depending on what our conversation was about.
Okay.
And I just welcome them with open arms and let them know that, hey, this is a no judgment zone. You do what you need to do. I've had them to cry, release, just be free, breathe, exhale. Sometimes we just have to exhale and sit in that moment. And we as women, we don't get to do that a lot of the times.
Right, right. So what would be some of the circumstances where they weren't satisfied? They just didn't like the style, or?
Yeah, I would call it not false expectations, but false hopes. If you don't have hair in certain places, there's nothing to attach the unit to. So we have to be creative and make it work. And if you've had hair loss for, years and your hairline is no longer there, we have to kind of like create that hairline for it to sit right. So one of the ladies, the problem was her hairline was back too far. She didn't like where her hairline was back too far at. So we were able to fix that for her and readjust her unit. But most of the time, if we put a unit on, it's there to last anywhere from 2 to 4 months, with proper maintenance in between. So it's not always that easy to remove and reapply.
Okay. And that was going to be my next question, how long your units last. I'm glad you said that. So when you said you have to do maintenance, do they have to come back to you to like wash it or do certain things like with you, or can they maintain it on their own?
They can maintain some things on their own, but like if they really want to keep their unit healthy, they would need to come see me in between services, in between, just wearing the unit, because there's some products that we have as professionals that a person in the regular world can't go buy, that they don't sell at the beauty supply store, that you have to have a professional license to, carry those products.
Okay.
So I strongly encourage them to seek maintenance in between at least every month and a half to 2 months. And then some units we can take off and reuse. Some units will last you anywhere from a year to almost 2 years. It just depends on the quality of the unit.
Okay, so I guess, yes, that makes sense to me, because I know when I used to buy wigs and I kept my wigs, I actually just threw them away before I moved in September. Well, it was in August when I threw them away. And they were still good. I just was like, well, I didn't think, anybody would want them because they were used, so that's why I was like, I'm just gonna throw them away. But it was still a struggle. Even though I had not worn those wigs and units in years.
Yes.
They were sitting in a tote, but it was still a struggle for me to throw them away, because I guess it was in my mind. I was like, I spent so much money on these, and they look good and this and that, but I didn't wear them anymore. So it was kind of like, well, what's the point? They're not serving me anymore because they're in a tote. It's no point in me keeping this,
I went through the same situation, same thing. So I know exactly what you're talking about. But the ones that I had that was new, I kept them to like re-gift or repurpose them to, for women that want to do something but may not have the financial funds to do it, or just me giving back.
Yeah. And see, I didn't do it because I had already like bleached the lace, cut it up. I did all the things to make it mine, to custom fit it for me. So it was like, yeah, no, I don't think anybody's going to want that. Yeah. But the other point you made is that the fact that your salon is private and it's only one client in the salon. And I like that, because I remember my experience when I was trying to get weaves and, trying to cover up my hair loss and being in a salon and people looking at you. And it's just like, And so I stopped going. The last person I went to, she did have a salon that was private, and that's why I did choose to go to her. And she did natural hairstyles. But she was the last person to do my hair because I got a quick weave, and that really took my hair out. So
Oh,
after
yes.
that, I didn't let anybody touch my hair. And I didn't let anybody, I just did it myself. I went on YouTube University, figured out how to do my not the sew-ins, the crochets and
Crochet. Mm-hmm.
style my wigs. It was
Mm-hmm.
on YouTube University. Nobody touched my head at all. So I was like, I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get
Yes.
it. All right. So we were talking about having a private salon, and I was telling you how I did not let anybody touch my head after that one stylist. And it wasn't her fault as far as why my hair came out. It was just the quick weaving. I didn't know I
Mm-hmm.
should not have done that. And it took my hair right on out. So I had to figure that situation out. But yes, I am glad that you do have a private salon because it is important for someone to have that sacred space. And
Yes.
to your point where women are out there, they're sitting in your chair releasing, and they would not ever be able to do that if they were in a salon full of people. They
Mm-hmm.
no way they probably wouldn't even walk into the salon at all.
Absolutely. And I'm so glad that I work with a group of stylists and barbers that understand. So like our shampoo bowl is in the main area. If I have a client that I'm servicing that day, I'll let them know what time my client is here and how much private time I need. Girl, they
Okay.
will close their doors to their salons and let just me and my client have that privacy of that common area. And
Okay.
with what we were just talking about, the quick weaves and everything, I'm really starting to get away from that service because I believe that it's not helping the cause. It's assisting in it more and more and more. So
Yeah.
Royal Hair Loss Studio may turn into where if you're just ready to release it, come see me. We not doing no wigs, no weaves, no braids, no cover-ups. It just come see me when you're ready to release it.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
kind of feeling my spirit is kind of pulling me towards that because I feel like in the same sense, yes, you want to, some women are not ready to release, and that's fine. I totally understand that. And
Mm-hmm.
in that I can say, I may not be the stylist for you. If you want a service that I refuse to provide or know it's not going to help you, it's just going to cover it up, I don't want to take your money just to cover
Yeah.
it up.
Yeah. And that you are absolutely right. And there's going to be a stylist out there that will do the service. We know
Mm-hmm.
that. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's not, it's not like, they're going to go without. But
Right.
to your point, if you are here to help women with hair loss, but you're providing a service that may be continuing to keep their hair from growing or, continuing, I guess, assisting with them losing even more hair,
More, yes.
then I can see how that's a conflict. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, and that's been pulling and tugging at me like, even if I cut out the quick weaves and just say, hey, we're doing sew-ins. And
Mm-hmm.
even a sew-in, the quick weave, that the chemicals in that glue is not for us. Everybody,
Yeah.
people don't understand what chemicals are all in that. And it's not good. It's causing other health issues.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we're still steady finding out more and more all the time how different hair care products have toxins in them and cause different diseases and this and that. And
Yes.
we've been using different things for years. And then all
Mm-hmm.
of a sudden, 20 years later, we find out, oh, that causes cancer. Oh, that
Yes.
causes hair loss. All that,
Yes.
it's like,
Yeah.
so the FDA is supposed to protect us, right? They're supposed to test these things to make sure it's safe for us
Mm-hmm.
to use. But
Yes,
okay,
yeah, but
obviously that's out the window, right? Guess so. Guess
yeah,
so. All
yeah,
right.
yeah. We know what it is.
Exactly. Exactly. So now tell us, what advice would you give to a woman who's struggling with hair loss, especially those who may be feeling isolated or discouraged at this moment?
Mm, love on yourself. Take some time for yourself. Um, Release anything that's been holding you back. Let go of the bitterness, the hatred, the anger in your heart. Just, you know, release it all. Let it go. Drop them bags off wherever you gotta drop them off at. Just be, and it's not going to be an easy journey. It's definitely going to be a difficult journey, but make sure your support system is strong and you have people that is not doesn't necessarily know you, but they're not on, they're on the outside looking in, to where you have a what's the word I'm trying to use? This is menopause brain kicking in. Just where you can feel safe, where you can, free to be yourself. You can be you, whatever it is. Just embrace the journey and have your support system in place.
Yeah.
And if not, there's plenty there. I'm not gonna say plenty, but there are resources out here. And like, if you're in the Dallas Fort Worth area, you know where I'm at, you know where I'm located at. Come see me. But just be confident in yourself. Work on you. Love on yourself. Sometimes we forget to love on ourselves because we're so busy loving on family, kids, husband, children, and also to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. It's okay to say no.
Definitely. No is a complete sentence. That's what I always say. I
Complete.
tell my kids, I'm like, it's a complete sentence that I don't need to say
Yeah.
anything else. It's no.
Yeah.
No. And it'd be okay with that, because sometimes, and I've said this, like, I don't know, on my podcast or either probably just on social media, people used to call me, or still probably do, they will call me selfish, because I will be like, no, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not. And I don't care if they call me selfish, because I don't feel like I'm being selfish. I feel like that is self-care. I
Yes.
can't do everything. I cannot overextend myself. Like, I've been there before. So now I'm at a place where I have no problem with saying no. No.
Yes.
But
And then
yeah.
also too, Kelly, we have to learn how to listen to our bodies. Our
Yeah.
bodies are telling us what's going on. For me, it was an iron deficiency. Like, my iron level was so low, it was causing me to black out and to pass out. And had I never passed out or blacked out in public, I would have never known that I had a low iron deficiency. Because, I mean, my childhood was rough. I didn't grow up with health insurance, community health insurance. You went to the health department if something was wrong with you, but they're going to run the bare minimum test on you.
Right.
So I didn't find out I had an iron deficiency till I was well in my 20s, probably about to turn 30.
When you got your own insurance at work, right?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah. It's
Yep.
like that, so, and people don't understand, but it's
Yeah.
like that. So,
Yes.
whew, yeah. Okay. So now let's look ahead and let's look at your vision for the future of Royal Hair Loss Studio. So I know you talked a little bit about the podcast, but I know that's something you're doing. But for the studio itself, what do you see happening in the future, your vision, and how do you want to continue to make a difference in women's lives?
So my vision for Royal Hair Loss Studio is to totally be exactly what it says, hair loss studio. For bald women, for women that's ready to cut it off and embrace it. Like a man going to the barber shop, you go to the barber shop every week. So I desire the type of clientele that want to come for those scalp treatments, that see how important it is to love on your scalp, to exfoliate your scalp on your head. This is us. This is where our energy flows through our head. So I see expanding another location.
Okay.
As well, probably in the Houston area, but just being more involved in the community, bringing more awareness to hair loss, giving more women the confidence to release it, let it go, be free. You got a pretty little head under there, and people are gonna love it. Just embracing community. Let's get back to loving and supporting each other. Let's bring the village back together,
Exactly.
So I have a lot of things on the horizon for Royal Hair Loss Studio, and just hopefully that we can expand and gain the clientele that we desire.
Yeah. And I'm glad you say, like, see your pretty little head, because you know the first thing people say is, that looks good on you, but I could never do that. My scalp doesn't, or my head doesn't look right, or I got this, or I got that on my scalp. It's like, we didn't know what our scalps look like either until we just had to go ahead and deal with it and cut it off and be like, hey, and like you said, you have a whole scar in the back of your head. I've talked to a woman who had brain surgery and her a cranial surgery or something like that. So she has a scar, but she still rocks her bald head confidently, just like you do. So it's just like, oh, well, nobody's perfect. Even if it's not your scalp, it could be something else about you that you may not like, but you still have to go out in the world and it has to be seen. You know, you may have a blemish on your face. It may be, you know, who knows, you know, missing or whatnot. We don't know, but you still have to go out in the world. Same thing.
You still have to, yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah. You know, and releasing it, what I'm trying to say is, sometimes the enemy wants you to hold those type of things in, to keep you inside isolated. He don't want you to break free. But if you break free, you're going to find your community. You're going to find your support. You're going to find what you need, and you're going to walk right into what's for you.
And right now, really, there are more hair loss communities and forums and different things out there for, especially for women. There are more than there has ever been, you know, more people out here coaching or helping with regrowth or whatever it may be. They are out there, which is, again, another reason why I do this podcast, another reason why I do the Bougie Baldie show, so that we can showcase people like yourself, so that people know, hey, you're here, you can help. So
yes. And I'm always continuing my education. I'm always looking for resources to gain knowledge. Trichology is on my horizons for Royal Hair Loss 2026. Just finding the time to try to fit it all in with my schedule. So yes, we're steady continuing to grow and educate ourselves on the different forms of hair loss.
And you know what? I do have someone to connect you with. She's a doctor. She has a doctorate in trichology. So she's in Arlington. So I'm gonna have to connect you guys so that maybe you could talk to her or see what route she went, but she got her doctorate.
Absolutely, yes. Yes, definitely. Please connect me with her.
Yes, and now she has over 30 years of experience. So definitely the person who can be a mentor possibly if she's open to it. So we'll talk about it after the podcast.
Yeah. And you know, I started this journey about a year ago. I stepped out of trucking to step into the beauty industry, but I stepped out of trucking because I wanted to be home more. I was an over the road truck driver, so I'm gone from home, you know, sometimes a month, 2 or 3 months at a time.
Yeah.
But as my kids got older and I started having grandchildren, I didn't want to miss out on their valuable time. And just within being in this industry within this year, it's not easy. It's definitely been a struggle, but I'm not going to give up on it. You know, it just made me feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I even through the struggle with it all, you know. So I do believe that this is the path that I'm supposed to be on, and this is my journey and my story to share with the world and to help those that's meant for me to help or assist, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you, Dena, so much for the work you're doing, the work you're going to be doing in the future, and all of the things, and sharing your journey with us on the podcast. I am so happy to be able to talk to you, and, you know, for the audience to learn more about you and your business.
Thank you for having me, Kelly. It's been a pleasure. I was nervous at first, but you made this so easy and nervous, you know. I mean, so easy, and just like we're sitting here having a conversation. So thank you so much for what you do.
You're welcome. And that's the goal, is just to make it nice and comfortable, just a casual conversation.
Yes.
All right. So we are going to go ahead and wrap up this episode of the Bougie Baldie Podcast. But before I do that, I got to talk about the Bougie Baldie Show, okay? Because it's out on the Zandra TV network. So if you have Apple, Roku, or Amazon Fire, you can go to your app store, download the Zandra TV network, and watch the entire season 1 of the Bougie Baldie Show. We have women on there who are bald, just like us. And we are sitting in a panel. We're talking about real stories, real experiences, and sharing good information with other women out there who may need it. And we also feature businesses that support people with hair loss, or they may have been created just like Dena's business was created out of her own hair loss journey to support other people with hair loss. So make sure you tune into the Bougie Baldie show. And if you're interested in being a sponsor on the show, if you have a business that has a product or a service that helps people with hair loss and you want to showcase that on the Bougie Baldie show and be a sponsor, feel free to book a call with me. The link to book a call will be in the description of this podcast, and we can talk about you possibly being a sponsor and see if you're a good fit, okay? So that's all we have for this episode. Thank you guys for listening or watching, depending on where you're seeing or listening, where you're seeing or listening to this podcast from. And we will see you again next week. All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening and watching the Bougie Baldie Podcast. I appreciate you as an audience member. Now, make sure you go and check out the Bougie Baldie TV show. You can watch it from any device, any smart device. All you have to do is go to ZandraTV.com and you will be able to pull up my show. It is under the lifestyle section on the menu if you don't see it on the front page. So make sure you go check it out. And if you did not get it, it's ZandraTV.com. Go ahead and click on the link in my show notes if you want to make it easier for yourself, and it'll take you directly there. I will speak to you on the next episode of the Bougie Baldie Podcast. Bye.
Thank you for watching the Bougie Baldie Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe